Rebecca Plant here for Lead a Better Business. Now, I have had the absolute pleasure this morning of hanging out with Mark Sowerby, who is the Queensland's first ever Chief Entrepreneur, which is a government position.
Yep.
And also
for free.
For free.
For free.
For free. Yes, a crazy entrepreneur next to me, and also the founder of Blue Sky Investing, who for the last 10 years has spoken to countless businesses looking for great startups to invest in.
Yep.
Perfect. So, Mark, this morning you shared with our group at the Business League on the Gold Coast a few rights and wrongs on what you've seen over the years in investing. But I specifically wanted to touch on a few key points that you talked about, mainly around self-awareness, conviction, and how to have great leadership and bring the right people around you.
Yeah, okay.
So, why don't you talk to me about kind of the way that you realised that self-awareness is so great, and how you think, talk to me about the English Channel.
Okay, sure. So
it's a terrible question, but do that.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, the English Channel was an interesting experience. I mean, it was sort of the end of that journey. Once you're exposed in your own business, you sure as hell learn a lot about yourself pretty quickly. And in fact, it's in your interest to be the best person that you can be with what you've got, and we're all limited in our own ways. And so what I learned as we're trying to build this business through Blue Sky was that I needed to understand my weaknesses better and fix them, rather than everyone says focus on your strengths. I actually think that you're much better off eliminating your weaknesses, because they're the things that'll bring you down. Like, this is around as much as not failing as it is about growing well. So I was trying lots of stuff and doing lots of things and discovering, I'm actually okay at that, or I'm terrible at this, I need to hire someone to do this. And so we started to try and fill these weaknesses out. But then as the business gets bigger and it gets more intense and you have financial crises and all those things, then the cracks in your personal damn wall open up. and so how do you make sure that you can resist the force, and that relentless, when you're in your own business, it's just relentless. You don't wake up the next day and there's no rostered day off or sick days. No, there's no sick days. There's nowhere to hide. Everyone in the business is relying on you. All the people for us that invested with us are relying on us. All the people that we invested into are relying on us, and our family are relying on us. So, the pain in the gut's incredible. So how do you prepare yourself for that? And it's I like the idea of being sort of business fit. And for different people, that means different things. So you got to understand, what does that mean for you? So I tried lots of stuff. Like I tried doing triathlons and getting really fit. Really fit for me, not really fit at all. But I did lots of courses and learning and networking and chatting to people that I thought were smart, or good, or had done stuff, and learning from them. And then the channel, I applied it the same way. So when I decided to swim the channel, which was part of that journey, I made sure I spoke to 30 or 40 channel swimmers, because they've done it. And some of them had never made it across. Most had failed at least once. And the stuff you learn from people that have done it before, that have been through that journey, is incredible. And what I found after talking to 30 or 40 people, there were 3 main risks, and some of those could be reduced or even eliminated. And so I focused on the 3 biggest things that would stop me from succeeding to get across the channel. And if you've got limited ability, which I know I do, then you have to...
In swimming?
Yeah, in swimming, yeah, exactly, and everything actually, but in swimming in particular, then I knew that for me, that it would be a game of inches at the end. And in the end, it's the way it played out. I ended up, all the little things that I did, the tiny little stuff around who was on the boat, nutrition, the training, my pilot, my coach over there, my coach in Australia, all the little stuff added up. We hit the Cap Grenade, which is the French point when you get swept back out to sea and it's all over, with 400 metres to go. Literally, I swam 53 Ks in 14 and a half hours, and probably I was 5 minutes from missing out. And that's how close it is. That's why most people don't get across the channel. And that's why many people don't do as well or do fail in their business, because they haven't done that. They haven't reduced the risk as much as possible, increased the prospects of success, done everything to the maximum to make sure that in the moment they can win it.
And how does someone identify a risk?
Well, it's judgment, actually. One of the things I've learned is that people are missing is judgment and the willingness and ability to make decisions, and particularly good ones. And that really comes from experience. So I always say to young people that I'm talking to is, get yourself up the experience curve as soon as you possibly can. Learn to trust your judgment. You know, people talk about gut feel. Gut feel is a collection of all of your experiences and your instincts into an answer. And you don't have to have a spreadsheet to tell you that that's the right answer a lot of the time. You meet someone, you go, actually, I don't like you. Or I meet someone and you go, oh my God, I think you're amazing. You're my type of person. But you only know that when you've had a certain amount of experience. You don't know it at 12. And so clearly, if you can get up the...
I'm going to mismatch this film because my camera got full. But I wanted Mark to share one thing,
Sure.
really important thing for those of us in business who have team. You shared this morning at the Business League about a strategy that you use to take turnover of staff from 50% to 2%.
Yep.
Can you share this strategy now?
Yeah, sure. So in the context of our business, which was we needed to have no turnover because we had 10-year funds. So you're really aiming for something and you have to have exceptional people. So what we did, we found at 5 years that we were starting to get really good people that wanted to work in our business, who were listed. They were moving back to Brisbane. They had these great CVs. And so I stopped hiring, which was a start. And the team would hire, and then they would get a guy or a girl that was awesome. And typically we knew that they were going to be a leader because we're still growing, so we're building our teams. Yeah. And they had this CV, and the CV was always amazing by then. You know, it was university medalist and Morgan Stanley, Credit Suisse, worked all around the world, did all this amazing stuff with their projects and things that they'd done. And so what we did is the team went through hiring. They said, we want to hire this girl. She's got this amazing CV. And they would get their remuneration done, the job description, everything's done. Everything's locked in, options, everything's done. Then they would have an hour and a half with me, coffee with Mark, we called it. And I would
very fancy title.
Yeah, so it was never meant to be, and it was nice. Like I'd talk them through the journey of the company and what our values were and all that sort of stuff. And this person's sitting there, they're comfortable. Like in the first 10 minutes, they're relaxed because they're with you and you're chatting away and just having a coffee and you're telling funny stories. And then you get to the end of this thing and you say, look, Rebecca, you've got this amazing CV. This piece of paper tells a story that you worked very hard to build this CV and this track record. Deep down, you know whether the things that are on this paper are the things that you've done. Were you the person in the project that dug in and won the day, or were you the one that was on the coattails when things got hard, you backed off, or even left that business because the consequences of your decisions were going to be bad? And so in this business, there's nowhere to hide. So if you're the person that dug in, you'll do really well here. We have no hierarchy, there's nothing to climb. You'll do really well. If you know deep down that piece of paper is just a piece of paper, that your story is not true, then this business will find you out. And at the end of that 18 months, 2 years, we'll give you time to adjust, to adapt to our rules. At the end of that time, then you'll know if you're going to make it, and so will we. And if you're not good enough, then when Macquarie Bank calls and says, what were you like, Rebecca? I'm going to say that you were crap. And as soon as you say that moment, you can tell from their body language immediately whether they believe in themselves, whether it's true, their story, or whether it's just a piece of paper. And 70% of the people in those 2 years didn't take the job.
Amazing.
And we stopped hiring people like them. And we didn't build out a big cancer in the business. Because when things get hard, they disappear, always. And we started hiring people that in the moment said, no, I don't know if I'm that person, but I think I am, and I'm going to try. And they were. And we just stopped the turnover.
Fantastic. So just being truthful with your team from the startup. I mean, even though you're telling them the vision, you're telling them the story, you're getting them bought into it, but then you're also saying, if you're shit, you're not welcome here.
Well, you won't succeed here. And there were some people that didn't make it in our business that are good people, that just didn't make it in you got to always keep the context of the business that we had, and we were solving for a particular problem with our people. And so there are some people that will go on and do good things that didn't take jobs at Blue Sky, but they weren't what we needed, and in the particular context of what Blue Sky was trying to achieve.
Yeah, so a couple of things out of that. Be really clear on what you actually do need.
Yep.
And be clear on what you're willing to take and not take in order to help you succeed in your journey as well.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. Mark, I just want to talk to you all day. But I'm Rebecca Plant. This is Mark Sowerby. You can find heaps of information about him by searching Mark Sowerby, Queensland's Chief Entrepreneur, or Blue Sky Investing. If you want to find out more about us, you're on the right page, lead-better.com.au, and we can chat to you about leadership and capacity by booking in an action call. Do that soon. I'll see you soon. right, let's do this.
Rightio.
Now I'm going to sit on it a little bit more on top of you this time. Is that nice?
That's okay. I'm okay, Becky.
I don't really need to be in it. We'll just keep me on the sideline. Okay, let's do
Yep.
this.